So this Chinrose AB 5702 oil extractor is, while made in China, and everybody thinks made in China means not super high quality. These guys, from their site, I could tell that they were pretty proud about the way that they construct these things. And I will tell you that they have good reason to be. As I assembled this, I was able to really check everything out, from the bolts that they provided to the quality of the machining on all the different parts. The thread's a fine thread and it's perfect. Everything about it fit together perfectly. All the valves are high quality valves. You can tell when you touch it that it's a good quality machine. So far, very, very impressed with it. One thing to keep in mind is that it does not go down as much as some other machines might. So this shaft here, right now, is set at its lowest height. So, and that 4-post lift that I'm using, it just barely gets below this. You can't see it, but the Jeep Grand Cherokee is almost like about an inch or two away from the ceiling, and I have 10-foot ceilings, right? So, yeah. So that's a concern. If you don't have a lot of clearance, this might not be the one for you. Luckily, I have just enough, and I'm really happy about that because I really, really think this is perhaps one of the best units under $500 for real. So I was able to drain the 5.8 quarts of oil out of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, no problem. The draining process was just, it's easy. And it has a nice little filter up top here, so I can look and see what quality the oil is. I added a little magnet, so if there's any metal shavings in the oil, it'll pick it up and I'll be able to see that. Happy to report there's none. And now I want to drain this and test how it drains. So I thought I'd make this video and show you a little bit about the draining process. So there are a few valves. There's a valve here, it's open right now, and that will allow things to flow out. By the way, this hook fits so nicely here, and the hose is the perfect length that it doesn't drag on the ground, it doesn't get in your way. It's just, yeah, a lot of thought went into this bad boy, right? So anyways, that's the first valve, that's open. Second valve right here is open. I'm just going to close it for now. And here's where the compressor, the compressed air hose will go. So we'll put this on. One thing I noticed is my little universal attachment does tend to leak air on this fitting. So when I turn it on, yeah, it's constantly leaking air, which I don't really love. It is what it is. So anyways, I'm going to get this bad boy. We'll put it over on this side. And this has what's the capacity on this? 16 quarts. Okay, that might be enough. Since I'm only putting 5.8 in there, should be no problem. Okay, we'll open this up. Hang this here. I'm just going to hold it here just so we can see where it starts to come out. So the nice thing about this too is it has a self-sealing valve on this end. So you don't have to worry about turning a valve here to shut it off. I don't know how much of a big deal that is if you had one more valve to turn. You still have these valves. But technically, I suppose you can leave these valves open all the time. It doesn't really hurt anything as you're filling every time. Oh, before we go further, I just wanted to point out this handy dandy tool spot here, this little tool thingy, is great. And this is a little window so you can see when the oil gets up to this point and needs to be emptied. I didn't realize that this came with this feature, so that's pretty great. Love it. I don't know if it's going to leak. I don't expect that it will, because all of these points had extra washers built, rubber washers in them. So, I mean, it's sealed pretty nicely. Anyways, let's get to it. We're going to turn this valve open, and we're just going to give it some air. And there you go. Wow, it's pouring. Already. Oh, see that? So what just happened is the too much pressure built up in this tank. There's a little blow-off valve here that popped open to relieve some of that pressure. So that's a nice little safety feature. So right now my compressor is set at it's set at 95 pounds psi, pounds per square inch, and that's clearly too much. So the next time I do this, I'll probably turn it down. I will say that the more, like some of the more expensive versions of these have their own regulators, so you can plug it in there and you have a regulator here set to whatever whatever pressure you want it to have every time you use it. That would be a nice addition, I will say. But for as infrequently as you empty this thing, it's whatever, right? The other thing too is you could just turn this thing on for a little bit and then turn it back off. So it doesn't have to be a thing. Pretty easy. Anyways, so all that to say, that was 5 gallons. This thing has a 20-gallon capacity. Those 5 gallons took 20 seconds, maybe? I don't know. You do the timing. Not very long. So to empty this thing is going to be a piece of cake every time. Super easy. Pretty happy about that. So one more passing grade for it. I will say I am a fan. I think this is going to serve me well. I wanted to get something that was high quality and I would never have to fight with and I would never have to replace. And I think this is it. I mean, every component here is excellent. I do think that if you were going to be putting a lot of different chemicals through this hose in particular, I don't know how well it would hold up. I know that some of these Claire hoses don't like coolants and radiator fluid and other things. So that might be a concern. Not a concern for me. All I'm primarily going to be using it for is oil. And if the whole hose fails, I will just probably replace it. It's quite serviceable. It's designed to be serviceable. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you found that interesting. I hope it answers some questions. By the way, when you're assembling it, the assembly instructions that's the worst part of this, which is, it's not that hard, honestly. But you're going to need a 3mm hex key Allen wrench. And you're also going to need a 5mm for the handles here. This is probably optional. You can hand tighten these just as easily, but probably best to actually crank it down a little bit so the handle's not coming off on you. And then on the bottom, where the wheels go on, that requires some 14mm sockets or a combination wrench or something. 14mm anyways. That's what you need. So 3, 5, 14. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope that was informative. Catch you in the rebound. Peace.